One of these days, and it won't be long. One of these days, and it won't be long. One of these days, and it won't be long. One of these days, and it won't be long. One of these days, and it won't be long. One of these days, and it won't be long.
Hello, we thank you for joining our broadcast here at The Lord's Been Kind, where we preach the Word of God line upon line and precept upon precept, hoping that there be a word or some type of message that we convey here in our classes that will help you in your walk of salvation. I'm Brother Jediah. I'll be doing the teaching today. Here we have Brother O'Shea. He'll be doing our reading today. Today we're going to deal with a subject called, or class called, Church on Sunday. Now, I'm starting with this church on Sunday because I had a conversation with someone and they were trying to explain that they don't go to church on Sunday, that they go on Saturday. And in conversating with them, what I learned is that most people aren't really educated on how is it that we go to church on Sunday, and why do we go to church on Sunday, and what day is supposed to be the Sabbath day. You know, when you look at the Bible, it's a great book. It got all kind of facts and history and, you know, inspirational psalms and wisdom and, of course, laws. But now when you look at the Bible, what happened is a lot of times people don't really understand the laws a part of it. You know, they don't get into that part. They just want to sit and read the book of Psalms and, you know, make themselves feel good. Well, today we're going to get into some of this law and we're going to digest it. But before we get into this class, I would like to read something here out of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And what this book is, this is like their source or their doctrine, the Catholic Church's doctrine. And also I have another book here called the Catholic Source Book. So I'm going to read a couple of things out of these two books that should help us kind of see what Sunday is. So one of the things I'm reading here is off of page 524, the Lord's Day. And it reads, "This is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. The day of the resurrection, the new creation. Jesus rose from the dead on the first day of the week. Because it is the first day of the day of Christ's resurrection, we call it the first creation, because it is the 8th day, following the Sabbath. It symbolizes a new creation, ushered in by Christ's resurrection. For Christians, it has become the first of all days, the first of all feasts, the Lord's Day, Sunday." So this is what we get out of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. They have declared Sunday as the Lord's Day. And they base that off of Revelations 1 and 10, which we will look at today. And of course, we saw that they feel like Jesus rose on Sunday morning. Also here, we'll look at that a little later. Also here, Sunday, fulfillment of the Sabbath. And it says Sunday is expressly distinguished from the Sabbath, which it follows chronological every week, meaning that after Saturday is Sunday, or every week. For Christians, it is ceremonially observant replaces that of the Sabbath. And Christ's Passover, Sunday fulfills the spiritual truth of the Jews' Sabbath and announced man's eternal rest in God. For worship under the law prepared for mystery of Christ, and what was done there prefigured some aspects of Christ. So basically, they have now taken Sunday and said that we're replacing Saturday. That's basically what they did. They took it and said they replaced it. And actually, we have documentation here that shows that Constantine is the one in 321 AD that did that. We're going to turn to Leviticus 23. That's going to be our first scripture. Also, I want you to pay note, 78.4% of Americans are Christian. So what we just read from Catholicism, about Catholicism of America, really that's almost 4/5. 4 out of 5 people that you see, they're Christian. 1.4 would be what's considered Advent. And what Advent would be is people who like Seventh-day Adventists. All right. But now when you go down to Brazil, it's said that they got 174 million Christians, 90% of their population. So just in America alone, we're talking millions and millions and millions of Christians, from your Gentile, your white race, to your black races, all the way to even your Spanish and your Mexican. We all deal with Catholicism. And that's why I came from that book and read that. So we're going to learn today about the day Sunday, and is this the true day of worship? So we're going to start this in Leviticus chapter 23, and when you get there, pick it up at verse 1, bro.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
Now, a convocation is a gathering. So right now we're saying that these are the feasts of the Lord in which ye shall have holy convocations or holy gatherings. Go ahead, verse 3.
6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Okay, so right here it just says 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. Now, a lot of people, and we just read out the Catholic source book, they want to tell us that that day has been fulfilled. That day, we don't have to keep that commandment any longer. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at here now is we're going to go to our Funk and Wagner New Standard Encyclopedia, Volume 23. These some pretty old encyclopedias here. Lord bless me and allow me to get my hands on them. We're going to look up Sunday because, you know, as we saw that a holy convocation is what you're supposed to have on the 7th day of the week. Now, we're going to look up Sunday, and we're going to also look up week. Because some people like to feel like, you know, well, you can't figure out what day of the week, you know, what day it is or nothing like that. But what I've understood and what I know is it don't really matter. Like, if you really feel like Monday is the first day of the week, well, then have a holy convocation on Sunday then. But it's some more rules to Sunday than just, or the Sabbath than just going to church. Well, that's what we're dealing with today. Church on Sunday. And we're going to look up here Sunday right there.
Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It says Sunday, first day of the week.
So right here we see Funk and Wagner immediately. Sunday, first day of the week. And these encyclopedias, they were published back in 1931 was the copyright, all the way to 1949. So way before probably anybody who watching this was born, they told us Sunday was the first day of the week. Go ahead.
Observed by Christians almost universally as a holy day in honor of the resurrection of Christ.
And we see here that this was the day that is observed by Christians as the resurrection of Christ. Now, we saw in our Catholic source book that the Lord's Day was the day that Christ was supposed to resurrect. And then we also saw in our encyclopedia that that Sunday, partially the reason why Sunday is the day of church or the day of worship is because the Lord resurrected on that day, right? That's what we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to make sure we prove that wrong. Go ahead, keep reading.
The hallowing of Sunday appears incontestably by a definite law of the church in the beginning of the 4th century.
Okay, so now it became a law. Matter of fact, read the next verse.
The Emperor Constantine confirmed the custom by a law of the state.
Okay, so with that being said, Constantine confirmed the law with the state. So I'm reading something here, and the question is, did Constantine change the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday? In the year 321 AD, Constantine decreed on the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrate and people residing in the cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. Now, this is what Constantine said in 321 AD, okay? Now, so that's what we just read about Sunday, that Constantine actually at some point said for everybody to do this, and we also saw that it was said about Sunday that this was the day that Jesus resurrected, right?
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to look up week, because I want to make sure that we establish that none of this has changed since before we was born. And that's what we're going to look at, what we supposed to be doing. We ain't going to worry about what anybody else and what other time period was doing. We're just going to look and see what we supposed to do. So week. And you can start right there.
Week. The period of 7 days now in universal use as a division of time is of Hebrew or Chaldean origin.
Okay, so what we just learned right there is the week that we got started off with the Chaldeans and the Hebrews.
Oh, wow.
And this is how we decipher time. So there is no, it shouldn't be no arguing at this point. We should know that Sunday is the first day of the week, And Saturday is the 7th day of the week, based off of the definitions and the things that we've checked out already. And then if we go to the encyclopedia, and I'll make sure we put this up, but even the regular dictionary, it would tell us that Saturday is the Sabbath, or matter of fact, go on here, we're gonna look it up real quick. We're gonna grab this one here and look up Saturday in that page. Matter of fact, it's on page 1705. Page 1705, and that's a Webster's Unabridged Dictionary, and we're gonna look up Saturday. 1705.
Saturday. Okay. There you go.
Okay.
Saturday, the 7th day of the week, following Friday.
Okay. That's all it's at.
Yeah.
That's all we need. All right, so let's go on over to Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. So now we have established what's the first day of the week and what's the 7th day of the week. Now we're going to get back to our Bible. And we also saw some few other things that we read about. We read that Constantine changed it. Yeah. Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to pick this up at verse 1. And again, the title of our class is Church on Sunday. And what we're trying to find out and what we're trying to learn about it, is this accurate? Is this what we need to be rolling with, church on Sunday? Like, when my friends come telling me, oh, I need to start going back to church, what day is that supposed to be? Because I know that they're talking about going to church on Sunday. I remember a girl telling me one day, she said, well, I'm going to go out to the club Saturday night, and I'm going to go out there and do what I do and do, all the evil. That's what she was talking about. And I'm going to get up and go to church on Sunday. That's what she said. She's like, I'm going to get up and go to church on Sunday and pray for forgiveness. It don't work like that. Genesis chapter 2, and let's pick this up in verse 1, 2, and 3.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them.
Okay.
And on the 7th day God ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made.
Go ahead.
And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
So we see along here that the Lord rested on this particular day. And we're going to get back to that a little later, because, God, he's supreme being. So when we're talking about him resting, that must got something to do for us. Because God don't sleep. Nothing like that. So it say God blessed the 7th day. He blessed this particular day. And sanctified this particular day. So pay attention to those things. Because when we start talking about somebody can come in and change something, we need to see if they have the ability or the authority to bless and sanctify this day then. Because we got a day, the Sabbath day, that has been blessed and sanctified. Let's go over to Acts chapter 7. Acts chapter 7, we're going to find out where the church started. Because remember, the class again is called Church on Sunday. Church on Sunday. So we're going to find out, where did the church start? What did they have when the church started? Acts chapter 7, and pick this up in verse 38. When you get there, you go ahead and read it.
This is he that was in the church in the wilderness, with the angel which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers, who received the lively oracles to give unto us.
Lively oracles mean laws. That's what oracles mean. So we talking about Moses. That's what it said earlier. Verse 37 would have told you that Moses was there. And it said, this is he that was in the church in the wilderness. So the church didn't start on the day of Pentecost, which, yes, is on a Sunday. Every Pentecost falls on a Sunday. But the church didn't start in Acts chapter 2 on the day of Pentecost. According to what we see here, the church was all the way back there in the wilderness with Moses. Now let's go to Exodus 31 and find out, what did they have? What day did they go to church? So we taking this all the way. I know at the beginning of the class, we kind of read you some information, just trying to show you, more geared to our title, Church on Sunday, showing you where this Sunday came from. But what we doing at this point now is we're going through the Bible and we're setting a foundation for what God has established for what day we go to church. Church, what we read in Leviticus 23, it said you have a holy convocation or a holy gathering. And this is what all these masses of people are doing on Sunday, as well as a few on Saturday. But pay attention to what Matthew chapter 7 say. It say, enter ye in at the straight gate. For narrow is the gate that leadeth to life, and few be there to find it. But then it say, but broad is the way, and wide is the gate that lead to death, and many go in thereat. So pay attention to that when you're looking at, okay, where our holy convocation or our holy gathering, well, when I go to church, it might be, we might max out at 100. You know, but when I went to, you know, World Changes down on the south side of Atlanta, shoot, it looked like it was about 20 or 30,000 up in there. Look like, there we go. Look like that was the Broadway. Because, as a matter of fact, not only was it 20 or 30,000 there, but when I was at the other church on the south side, over there in DeKalb County at Newburgh, it looked like it was, you know, about another 20 or 30,000 there. That's 60,000 compared to my little 100 on the Sabbath day. You know, I'm just trying to show you where the Lord telling you in Matthew 7 that the gate is narrow, but the mass majority of the people are holding their holy convocation on Sunday. So anyway, Exodus 31, and let's pick this up at verse 12. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep.
So was he trying to tell Moses to tell the children of Israel them Moses' Sabbaths? No, he was saying these are his Sabbaths. Remember, we already read that he sanctified and hallowed these particular days. Go ahead.
For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
See, now notice what else he's saying. This is a sign between the Lord and his people and all their generations. See, this is going to be really straight up. If I was to meet you and I wanted to know what God you serve, one of the first questions I'm going to ask, and I'm not going to be just direct like, oh, what day you go to church? But I'm going to slip it on in there. I'm going to find out. I'm going to know, do you keep the Lord's Sabbath day, or are you partaking in Sunday worship? Or are you going to church on Sunday? I'm going to find out, because this is a sign between the Lord and his people. Now, I don't mean everybody who goes to church on Saturday gets salvation. That's not what that means. That's one commandment. But notice what he's saying about this one commandment. He's saying this is your sign, S-I-G-N. This is your identification. This is how we know between you and God. Go ahead.
That ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
So he's saying I'm sanctifying you and this particular day because y'all worship on this day. Go ahead.
Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death.
Right.
For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
Go ahead.
6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord.
So holy to Moses?
Holy to the Lord.
Holy to Brother Jediah?
Nah,
holy to the Lord. Go ahead.
Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
Keep reading.
Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
So now somebody might say, well, you just read that the children of Israel was supposed to keep this. You didn't say the whole world or nothing like. You didn't say the church. Now remember, we just left Acts where it said the church started in the wilderness. And we see that these are the Lord's Sabbath days. But keep reading, because we're going to clear that up too. Go ahead. Keep
it is
going.
a sign between me and the children of Israel forever.
How long?
Forever. It's a sign forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed.
Go ahead.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God.
So he took the time to write this out with his hand, written with the finger of God, and we gonna say that we don't have to do this no more. Let's go to John chapter 4. John chapter 4, we're going to look at one verse here. Because, you know, some people like to argue with you and try to tell you, well, you know, that's the Jews. That's the Jews' Sabbath day. You know, and it make it so bad. The so-called Jew, he don't even do it right. I mean, he do the Sabbath day right, but it was a lot of Sabbath days. If we would go back to Leviticus 23, and as a matter of fact, we are going to go back to Leviticus 23 before this class is over with. And when we go back, we're going to see it's more Sabbath days than just Saturday. See, the world has adopted new customs and put Jesus on it and call these days holy or hallow. For example, like Christmas, that's a holiday. You know what I'm saying? Or Easter, that's a holiday. Or Halloween, that's a holiday. You know what I'm saying? St. Patrick's, these are holidays. But the Lord, his Sabbath days coincide with holy days. You know, not hallow. Hallow in me is nothing in it. You know what I'm saying? But he said, I got holy days. And these are the days that we got to really deal with. But we're going to get there. Let's go to John 4 and 22. Read that one verse for me, bro.
Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
So, yeah, the Lord gave this to the children of Israel. That's correct. But notice what Jesus is quoting out of his mouth, salvation is of the Jew. Let's go to Isaiah 57. Isaiah 56, I'm sorry. Isaiah 56. And if we move a little too quick on you, brothers and sisters, you know, this is on YouTube. You can pause it. We also are having DVDs available. So if you would like a DVD, just inbox me and you know, send me your address, and I'll do the best I can to make sure I get you that DVD that you're requesting. But we got somebody to bless us to make DVDs. So Isaiah 56 and verse 1. We do got a few scriptures, so we are going to move kind of quick here. Isaiah 56 and pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed.
Go ahead.
Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
So right here we just read where it says, blessed is the man that keepeth from polluting this particular day, this Sabbath day, and from doing evil on this day. Like, blessed is the man, not the Israelite, but the man. Go ahead.
Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even unto them will I give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
Okay, keep going.
Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar. For mine house shall be called an house of prayer for all people.
So it don't matter. He told the stranger if he could take hold of his covenants and his Sabbath day, he'll make him even better than the children of Israel. So it don't matter what nationality you are. The job of Israelites anyway is to preach this gospel to the whole world. We act like this is just supposed to be for us. And like the Lord only created the children of Israel to get salvation and everybody else go to hell or something. That's wrong. That's blasphemy. Let's go on over to Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4. We're going to throw this in here real quick. And Ephesians chapter 4 and pick it up at verse 4.
There is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism.
See, so regardless, it's only one way. You know, it's like it's only one way. And what we learning right now, church on Sunday is not the way. That's what we're really learning. Like, you need to repent from that. You need to come from up out of there. Really. And start learning this word of God. Yeah, I used to go to church on Sunday every Sunday. I missed school before I missed church. Long time ago, though. Lord taught me better, and I praise the Lord for that. Let's go on over to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. And don't get it twisted. I got a good foundation going to church on Sunday. I really did. You know, the first scripture I ever learned was Ecclesiastes 12 and 1. I learned that church on Sunday. Matthew chapter 5, verse 4 through 12. I learned that going to church on Sunday. But what I did not learn going to church on Sunday was how to obtain my salvation. I learned that the Bible was the truth, but I did not learn anything that the truth was telling me. I didn't know that, for one, we got to keep the Sabbath day. That this was a sign between the Lord and his people. Hey, I didn't even learn that I was an Israelite. I had to learn that from KRS-One at 13. You know what I mean? When I was going to church all that time before. When you go to church, you're supposed to learn something from the preacher. He's supposed to teach you something. Let's Matthew chapter 5 and pick it up at verse 17. 17 through 20.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
So this Jesus talking. He said, I did not come to destroy the law. Go ahead.
Or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So all that we have been reading, he said, I didn't come to do nothing but fulfill what was written of me. But keep reading what it says. See what it says.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
He say, look here, till heaven and earth pass, everything that was written is still good. Even the Levitical priesthood that we no longer under, because we are under Jesus Christ and his priesthood. But when we get back into the kingdom, even that priesthood will still be good. Everything that's in this Bible is still good. He said not one jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Keep going.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
There you go. You can either break the commandment and be called least, or you could do and teach him and be called great. Go ahead.
For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Sounds simple enough. Let's go on over to Isaiah chapter 1. Isaiah chapter 1. Isaiah chapter 1, and we're going to look at verse 12, 13, and 14. And again, we're dealing with church on Sunday. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 12, 13, and 14. You get that, go ahead and read.
When ye come to appear before me, who hath required this at your hand to tread my courts? Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto
So
me.
this is what we bring into the Lord when we come to our altar calls on our churches on Sunday. He said, don't bring me that vain oblation and incense as abominations unto me. And I'm going to prove that that's how these things are to the Lord. Go ahead.
The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hated.
So he said, now the way you deal with stuff, my soul hate that. Your appointed feast days, like how you deal with Easter now. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lord don't like that. And we're going to deal with that Easter a little bit today. 3 days and 3 nights. That's what we're going to deal with. Go ahead, keep reading.
They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them.
Let's go on over to Matthew chapter 15. Matthew chapter 15. We're going to look at a little story here with Jesus. Pick this up at verse 3 when you get there.
But he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition?
Now, Jesus, the scribes and the Pharisees, they come up on Jesus, and they like, yeah, they wasn't washing their hands before they ate. They breaking the tradition. And then, you know, we still got that tradition today. You know you're supposed to wash your hands before you eat. That's what everybody's rules is, you know. Did you wash your hands? That's going to be the first thing you hear come out somebody's mouth when you open up their refrigerator. But that's not a commandment of God, though. That's a tradition. So he say, why do also you transgress the commandments of God by your tradition? Now Jesus came back at them. Go ahead.
For God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother.
So he's saying, because the Lord said, honor your father and your mother, right? Go ahead.
He that curseth father or mother, let him die the
And
death.
if you curse your father and your mother, you supposed to die for that. Go ahead.
But ye say,
But you done said, go ahead.
whosoever will say to his father or his mother, it is a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free.
So basically what we done said is, if you breaking bread with your mama and daddy, you ain't got to honor them. That's how we act. And I know people like that. I really do. Go ahead.
Thus have ye made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition.
So he's saying, but by doing that, you have made the commandment of God none effect by your tradition. Let's turn over to Leviticus 19 real quick. I'm going to show you something here. Leviticus 19. Because we went into Matthew 15 and we saw how the Lord said that, you know, you breaking my commandments with your traditions, right? And he started dealing with honoring your mother and your father. You know, what they got to do with church on Sunday? Well, let's go back to this law and pick it up at verse 1.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speaking to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and saying to them, ye shall be holy, for I the Lord your God am holy. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord.
Now, wait a minute. Now, we just went back where Jesus said that you're supposed to honor your mother and your father. Now, we come over here to Leviticus, and in the same line with honoring your mother and father, he's saying, oh, yeah, by the way, keep my Sabbaths. So what my point is, we, by our traditions, are breaking this commandment. We are not keeping the Lord set. Now, truly, we feel like we're still supposed to honor our mother and our father. But we don't feel like we got to keep the Sabbath day, the 7th day of the week, as we done went through the historical books to prove that it's not the first day of the week, Sunday. At any rate, let's go on over to Ezekiel chapter 8, because now I'm going to show you how the Lord really looking at this Sunday. You know, when we go to church on Sunday, where did this come from? And you know, we read that Constantine actually, he was a Roman emperor at 321. He actually changed the law, made it where this is the day you were supposed to rest. See, people don't know that what we get in church come from men sitting down deliberating. They had a council in 325 called the Council of Nicaea. This is where you get your Trinity from, and you know, your other doctrine that come at church. And they actually sat down and deliberated and argued about this. Make it so bad, I read today they had 2 or 3 people in there that they had excommunicated before. And they brought them back because they were trying to bring peace amongst all the church people. This is what they were trying to do. And they came out of that council with more false doctrine. That's what they did.